Fernanda's early life was anything but ordinary. She describes her childhood home as a place full of energy, creativity, and the constant buzz of theater. Her mother, who was also an actress, played a major role in shaping her childhood. Fernanda says, painting a picture of a home filled with rehearsals and performances. For Fernanda, this was just the way things were. Being around the theater was as normal as anything else. Her mother, a key figure in her life, wasn't just an actor. She was her role model. Fernanda recalls her mother's presence fondly, saying, she resembled Onis Piva, another actress she admired. It was this early exposure to creativity that sparked Fernanda's passion for acting. It was impossible for Fernanda to avoid the world of acting. With both of her parents being actors, her life was filled with rehearsals, discussions about scripts, and constant exposure to the theater. Our dining table was the place where they rehearsed, Fernanda recalls. To her, it wasn't just a dinner table. It was the stage where her parents worked, talked, and lived their art. She says growing up in this environment felt completely natural. Everybody around me wanted to be actors, she remembers. It was a time when the theater in Rio de Janeiro was buzzing with activity, and everyone had the dream of stepping into the spotlight. For Fernanda, being surrounded by such talent only fueled her desire to pursue acting. It wasn't just about a career choice, it was a lifestyle. Love for her hometown of Rio de Janeiro is clear. She's proud to call herself a product of the culture of Rio, a city where the arts are at the core of everyday life. Growing up in Rio meant she was surrounded by music, theater, and the kind of energy that only this vibrant city could provide. Rio wasn't just a place she lived, it was a huge part of who she is. She remembers running through the streets, playing, and feeling the rhythm of the city. I love Rio de Janeiro, she says, her voice filled with affection for the city that made her the artist she is today. In Rio, she found not just a home, but a source of endless inspiration. But life wasn't all fun and games. As Fernanda grew up, Brazil was living through some of its darkest days under a dictatorship. The political climate was tense, and freedom of expression was restricted. It wasn't easy, especially for young people who had dreams of making a mark in the arts. Despite this, Fernanda reflects on how, even during such tough times, people found ways to express themselves. Even when the situation is unbearable, I think people find a way just to leave happiness. Life theater music, it was all around together with a very dark, dark time, she says. During the dictatorship, when everything felt oppressive, the arts were one of the few ways people could resist. Music, theater, and art became powerful forms of expression. Fernanda's childhood memories are a mixture of struggle and creativity, a balance that shaped her character and her future career. As Fernanda entered her teenage years, she started to realize how deeply her parents had influenced her. Her mother, especially, was her biggest supporter. My mother, we talk a lot about theater and acting. She talks a lot about theater, Fernanda says. These conversations weren't just casual chats. They were learning moments for Fernanda, helping her understand the art of acting from a young age. Her parents' passion for theater wasn't just something they did for work, it was who they were. And for Fernanda, this constant exposure to the world of theater helped her build a deep love and respect for the craft. Everybody wanted to be actors, she recalls. It wasn't just about talent, it was about being part of something bigger, a community of artists who shared the same passion for performance. Fernanda doesn't shy away from talking about the difficult times in Brazil. The dictatorship may have made life harder for everyone, but it didn't stop the creative spirit of the people. Fernanda remembers how art, particularly theater and music, became a form of escape for many. Even when things were at their worst, the arts brought people together and gave them a sense of hope. Theaters and music were places where people could express their frustrations, hopes, and dreams. And for Fernanda, it was in these spaces that she found her calling. Theater was very strong in Rio de Janeiro, she says. It wasn't just a hobby, it was a way of life. As Fernanda grew older, her passion for acting only deepened. She began taking on small roles, trying to prove herself in a competitive industry. But it wasn't until she landed a significant role in a film that everything started to change. That film, which was spoken in Portuguese, became a massive hit in Brazil. Fernanda recalls the moment she first heard about her Oscar nomination. She was in Lisbon, far from the bright lights of Hollywood. They came up to the room where I was and said, "I had this strange feeling because the Oscars for us in Brazil for an actor is something so far away." she says. It was an overwhelming moment for her, a moment that felt unreal. For an actor from Brazil, being nominated for an Oscar nomination wasn't just a career milestone, it was a surreal moment, something she never imagined could happen. Coming from Brazil, where the film industry wasn't as globally recognized, the idea of being nominated for one of the biggest awards in the world felt almost impossible. She was in Lisbon when she got the news. Someone rushed into her room telling her she had been nominated. At first, it didn't feel real. She describes the moment as a strange feeling, because for most Brazilian actors, Hollywood seemed like a distant world. The Oscars weren't something they even dreamed of, until that moment, when Fernanda's name was announced. With the nomination, everything changed. Fernanda was no longer just an actress in Brazil, she was now being noticed on an international level. But despite the recognition, she remained deeply connected to her roots. Fame never changed her love for Brazilian cinema, and she continued working on projects that told authentic stories about her homeland. For Fernanda, acting was never about seeking fame. It was about telling meaningful stories, stories that reflected real life. And that's exactly what she continued to do. Even with an Oscar nomination, she didn't pack her bags for Hollywood. Instead, she stayed in Brazil, working with the people she admired, making films and TV shows that spoke to her culture. Fernanda always believed that Brazilian cinema had something special. It wasn't just about entertainment, it was about identity, history, and culture. Brazilian films had a way of telling stories that felt raw and real, something she deeply connected with. She once said that she never dreamed of working in Hollywood because her heart was in Brazil. "My dream was always to work in my country," she explained. It was a decision that set her apart. Many actors would have taken the opportunity to move to the US and chase international fame, but Fernanda stayed true to her roots. As a woman, in the film industry, Fernanda faced challenges just like many other actresses. But she never let those challenges stop her. She was determined to make her mark, not just as an actress, but as someone who could shape the industry. Over the years, she took on roles that weren't just about looking glamorous on screen. She played complex characters, strong women, flawed women, real women. She wanted to show the reality of life, not just the fantasy. This mindset shaped her career. She wasn't afraid to take risks, to play roles that challenged her. She believed in storytelling that made people think, that made people feel. Even though Fernanda was successful in film and television, she never forgot her first love, theater. No matter how big she got, she always found her way back to the stage. For her, acting in theater was a completely different experience. There were no second takes, no editing, just raw performance. But Fernanda didn't stop at acting. She also became a writer, sharing her thoughts and experiences with the world. She wrote books and articles, offering a deeper look into her life and the industry. Through her writing, she shared insights about the struggles of being an actress, the changes in Brazilian cinema, and the experiences of growing up in a creative family. Writing became another way for her to connect with people, beyond just acting. Today, Fernanda Torres is more than just an actress. She's a storyteller, an artist, and a voice for Brazilian cinema. She has spent decades bringing characters to life, sharing stories that matter, and staying true to her roots. Her journey from a little girl growing up in a theater-filled home to an internationally recognized actress is a testament to her dedication and love for her craft. She never chased Hollywood dreams. She built her own legacy on her own terms. Her impact on Brazilian cinema and television is undeniable. She has inspired a new generation of actors, showing them that success doesn't mean leaving your home behind. It means embracing it, celebrating it, and sharing it with the world. Fernanda Torres' journey is proof that success isn't just about fame or international recognition. It's about passion, authenticity, and staying true to your roots. Her dedication to Brazilian cinema and storytelling has left a lasting impact, inspiring generations of actors and filmmakers. What do you think about Fernanda's decision to stay in Brazil despite her global recognition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into her career, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you never miss more inspiring stories like this. See you in the next one.